The views or opinions expressed in this presentation are those of the participants and do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Westman Communications Group or its employees.
Hello and welcome to the second episode of the KC Chronicles podcast. I'm your host, Kenzie Jordan, and this is my co-host, Cullen. We welcome you to join us today. If you are interested in doing a podcast or anything like that, or have any ideas, you could just email us at WCGTV@westmancom.com. And we hope you guys will take interest in this because we love doing it and we hope you love doing it. And for today's episode, we have a special guest, Ryan DeGroot. She comes from ACC. She goes to class with me. So Ryan, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm Kenzie's classmate, and she actually will be giving me a ride to school later today. Yeah. I'm really happy that she has invited me onto the podcast today.
Yeah.
Welcome. For episode 2, we already have a special guest. We're already doing big things.
Yeah, we're very excited to have you. This is very fun. We love doing it, and having guests make it more fun. So
I feel very special.
Yeah. We have a special little prompt or idea for today's episode. We're going to talk about music. Music in general, anything to go with music. And we figured since we have 3 different people, we can get 3 different opinions, and it can be a very diverse topic.
Yeah, because, I think we all have a good kind of palette or, range of stuff that we listen to.
Yeah.
And then we each kind of have our own genre that we're pretty nerdy in, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just kick it off. We do have a couple questions to prompt answers from all of us because it'd kind of be hard to just sit here and just blab. I can blab.
Well, it's easy to do that. It's easy to get lost in.
The first question, and a super easy one, is what music do we all listen to? What do we like?
Let's have the guests go first.
Yeah.
You know what? I have a very wide range of music taste. It varies from, music from the 60s to K-pop to heavy metal. It all varies, but I don't know. My favorite would probably be indie punk rock, pop rock kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what I'm really rocking with right now.
Awesome.
Okay. For me, I'm also a bit more diverse in my music. I've got pop and rock and all the different genres type thing. I never really set on one thing, but my favorite that has been my favorite for almost 2 years is alternative.
Yeah.
I don't know why I've been really into alternative music lately.
It's good to go against the trend.
Yeah.
Be contrarian. No. Well, typically, I might not look the part in this nice work setting, but maybe if the tattoos and long hair give it away, rock and heavy metal is my Bible. It's what I live by. I enjoy a lot of music from a pretty wide range of stuff, but yeah, those 2 genres probably make up about 90%, I'd say.
Okay. Well, in saying what music we like, what are your favorite artists?
Ooh. Should I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think I alluded to this in the first episode, but the mighty Metallica is my favorite band. But if I were just to kind of spitball some of my favorites in no particular order, Metallica, Pink Floyd, AC/DC, Megadeth, Green Day, Blink-182, kind of, some metal, some kind of, prog rock, punk rock, a wider range. Yeah. Okay.
Ryan?
You know what? I'd say my favorite band would be 5 Seconds of Summer, which is a little bit more pop, and they used to have a pop punk phase back in 2015, around when they first started. And I don't know, I like them a lot, but I also really like NCT Dream, which is not a very common band. They are from Korea. I really enjoy that band.
Nice.
For me, I mentioned I'm more into alternative, and I think I alluded to this as well in the last episode. Chase Atlantic is my favorite band by far. Also, The Neighborhood, The Weeknd, stuff like that. I also am a huge Nickelback girl. I grew up listening to their music, and I love them so much. I know every word to every song.
Yeah, sorry, that actually reminded me. Growing up, I listened to the Beatles, so I'd also have to say the Beatles are one of my top favorite bands.
Definitely.
So what about 5 Seconds of Summer, do you say it kind of drew you into the group?
Well, I have 3 older sisters, and when they first kind of started being a band, I was pretty young, and I don't know, I didn't know much about him, and I felt like it was at the same time as when One Direction was really popular, and since I was really young, I didn't really know much about anything, and my sisters really liked them. So through them and through my family, they just kind of kept pushing music onto me, and I felt like it was something that I got to bond with them over. We would go on drives all the time with my older sisters, and we'd have the windows down, blasting One Direction and 5 Seconds of Summer. It was just core memories, and I have such a place for that band in my heart now, so.
Well, and I'm honestly a bit of a same but different way. I grew up with older brothers, so I didn't have like the 5 Seconds of Summer, the One Direction. I had to find that stuff myself, but I did lean more into like Post Malone and Nickelback because of my brothers. They were into more of that, and whenever they drove, that's all that played. So I ended up growing up, I was a lot of Post Malone that I listened to.
I grew up an only child, so I had like no siblings to lean on, so I really had to kind of find a lot of music myself. But thankfully, both my mom and my dad, they're both like really into like rock and metal from kind of different decades. So I kind of found some of that through them. But yeah, I had to kind of find a lot of music on my own. And one of my cousins, he was like a big like metal guy too, so he introduced me kind of into the more kind of extreme stuff. Like he kind of helped me kind of usher my way like more into like Metallica. He showed me like Slayer, all the Satan stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. What is your favorite song as of like right now? Because I don't know about you, but mine changes once in a while. So.
Oh God, mine changes all the time. That is a very tough question for me right now. You might have to come back to me. I gotta think first.
I can start. That's pretty easy. So I mentioned I like Chase Atlantic, and I have 2 songs that are my favorite by them right now. There's Dancer in the Dark, and then there's Heaven and Back, and those are like on repeat all the time for me at this point. I didn't play them in the car though because I wasn't sure, but maybe I'll play them on the way to school for you.
Well, again, might we remind the audience? Kenzie wants Chase Atlantic to like call her or like text
please.
her, email her. So if you know anybody that's in cahoots with Chase Atlantic,
she's your girl.
Just
like if I die tomorrow, somebody get Chase Atlantic to play at my funeral, please and thank you. That's all I ask.
That might be on me.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Ryan's planning my funeral,
that'll
so
have to fall onto others.
I hope I'm not planning your funeral. That is so morbid.
You might have to.
No.
Well, it's expensive too. It's not cheap.
Okay, but she loves me and she'll do it for me.
I would do anything for you, Kenzie.
Exactly. I would do anything for you, and this is why we're best friends.
You'll steal a casket from
Costco.
I would.
Costco.
Costco sells caskets.
Costco doesn't sell caskets.
Yes, they do. Have you ever been on their website?
In bulk, it's like a 5 for 10 deal. Like,
No.
We're getting sidetracked.
yeah.
After this episode, Cullen, I have to prove to you that Costco sells caskets because it's on their app.
I'm not.
You can go and find caskets.
Caskets
Anyway.
for like your pet doesn't count.
No, it's a real big size
for
casket.
humans.
Okay,
Anyway, your favorite song. I will settle this debate later.
Very well, very well. I've been listening to a lot of Black Sabbath lately, and when you think of Black Sabbath, you probably think of like Ozzy Osbourne, but they came out with a lot of albums in the 80s and 90s that were without Ozzy, and there are some people that can't accept Black Sabbath without Ozzy, which is fair. I mean, he's one of the most iconic guys, but one album they did, the first one without Ozzy, it's called, it's some bad language, so I can't recite it, but one of the songs on the album was called Neon Nights. It's a very fast kind of rockin' song, and I've been listening to that one a lot lately. That's one where I crank the volume, windows down, fly down the road. Not a good idea right now with all the snow on the roads, but in summertime, that's the time.
Do you think?
I thought on it. I don't know the artist of my favorite song right now. It's just kind of one of those songs that you listen to all the time, and you're not really into the band or the artist. But I have really been rocking with My Own Worst Enemy, and I don't know who the artist is please don't hate me. Maybe
no
you guys
one
can
will.
help me out. I don't know if you
I was
guys.
gonna say I don't know the song, but I could Google it.
Yeah, I've been listening to it a lot on repeat because me and my friend Liam have really retouched on Rock Band, the Wii game. And it is on both of our Rock Band accounts, and we've been playing it nonstop.
That's one thing I will add. Rock Band and every like variation of like Guitar Hero
Yeah.
or whatever, that stuff was instrumental because again, it's like pure just rock. you
Oh,
know?
definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Rock Band shaped the way I listen to music to this day.
Yeah. Well, like a lot of people around our age and maybe like a bit older, like a lot of us grew up on that game, so
Yeah.
it's pretty instrumental. I think.
Well, a lot of us just grew up on the Wii in general, so if
Yeah.
you didn't have that game, you should have.
Not
That
as cool
or
as the
Wii
rest of us.
Sports.
Something's wrong if you didn't have that game. But
We had Beatles Rock Band. We actually
yeah.
still do. I play it on the odd day with my sisters. But we have Beatles Rock Band, which is another reason why the Beatles are one of my favorite bands, just because I learned all of the songs through that.
Mm-hmm.
Yellow Submarine, I mean, I couldn't sing when I was 10, but I would sure
could
try.
pretend.
I would sure try.
so moving on from favorite song, it's still in a favorite category. But what's your favorite? Sorry, I can't speak right now. Your favorite artist and why?
Oh, I mentioned this earlier, 5 Seconds of Summer. Like, it's a band, but I still love them, you know. They kind of, each individual member of the band sings and plays an instrument. So they all kind of have solo music too, which I enjoy. But just as a whole, I love them because, I don't know, it just tickles my brain right. Their music tickles my brain right. And just the memories that I've had with my siblings sharing, you know, we'd watch videos of the band talking. Like, we liked the personalities of the people in the band. We loved their music. We loved everything about them. So therefore, I just can't let them go.
Yeah, that's totally fair. For favorite artist, Chase Atlantic's definitely on the top, but I'm gonna go the route of Nickelback actually for this question because
That'll probably offend some people.
What?
Because Nickelback is one of those bands where there's a huge legion of followers,
Yeah.
but there's an equally large legion of people that hate them.
Okay, well, if you hate them, I'm sorry if this ruffles your feathers, but this is just my opinion, so.
I feel like most of their fans kind of come from Canada because
yeah.
they're a Canadian band. But
Well, yeah, that's the start. They're a Canadian band. They literally grew up in Alberta.
Yep.
But I love them because I grew up listening to their music. It's all my parents would ever play in the car. And I quickly learned every word to every song, even though I probably shouldn't have at that age, but it's okay.
it's a bad language.
And last year, I got to see them in concert. And that was like a childhood dream of mine, is to see them live, and I
know
got
a lot
to.
of people that went to that concert.
It was amazing. That's like top tier, best experience of my life, and I'm very grateful that I got to do that. And they're just my favorite overall, and I can sing like every word to every song.
That is so me in 5 Seconds of Summer code.
Yeah, like Colin, what about you?
Well, I feel like I've said it already multiple times. I'm getting to be a bit of a broken record, but Metallica.
Who could have guessed that one?
Who could have guessed that one?
I would put my money on it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I think I would have definitely have heard their songs on the radio because they have a couple of that, you know, always get radio play. But ever since I was about 10 or 11, they were always kind of in my frequent listening. And then I'd say kind of about 3-4 years ago, kind of when I was end of high school, started college, I like started to kind of get like really into the music. And yeah, since 2018, I've seen them 3 times in concert.
That's
so.
insane. That's awesome though. Like seeing the people you love most in concert, I think is like the greatest experience.
One thing I will add though, it doesn't do good any good for your hearing. Like if I go deaf
no.
by 40, I'll know.
We all know why.
Yeah, I've only been to one concert, and not only your hearing goes, your voice goes.
Oh yeah.
I
definitely.
could not talk normally for months. It was just too scratchy. I was screaming so loud.
Well, since we're on the topic of concerts, actually, what concerts has everybody been to?
Oof, I gotta remember all of them.
And what's your favorite, if you?
I'm jealous. I've only been to one concert in my entire
Whose did you
life.
go to?
5 Seconds of Summer.
Well, that's
and
good at least.
You know what? The one story I have, best night of my life. I waited 14 hours to see them. And, you know what? we had had the concert tickets since 2020, but obviously that's when COVID hit. So my older sister had bought them, and at the time I was 14 and she was 18. So she had free will and a car, so she could go, and it was in the States. So she didn't really worry about that. She bought the tickets. She had 4 of them, and she was going to bring her friends along. I was really jealous because she knew how much I liked the band, but my mom didn't want me driving out with her because she thought we were too young. But then COVID kind of helped this situation a bit because it actually postponed the event so far to the point where I was 17, so I was able to go. And me and my sisters, we all drove down to the States for 2 days, and we woke up at 5:30 in the morning, stood in line. It was at the Armory in Minneapolis. So if you didn't know, that venue used to be a gymnasium. So it's completely flat. So if you get there right at concert time, you'll get in, but you'll be standing at the very back, and it's not elevated, so it's kind of bad.
You gotta hope that you're like super tall.
Yeah, so it's basically completely pit. So we stayed in line so long, and it rained, but it was so worth it because I got a couple rows back.
Oh yeah.
And not only was it just amazing to see them in concert, because it felt like they were a figment of my imagination for so long, because they were from Australia, right? I would have never thought I'd see them. But at the end of the concert, the lead guitarist and the bass guitarist threw their guitar picks into the crowd, and I saw the lead guitarists fly right over my head, right behind me and my sister. And we both made eye contact and then looked down, and I shot down to the ground. Hands and knees, I put my hand down, and I got a guitar pick.
Nice.
And there were a few fans that were pretty mad at me for getting that, but I cried. I genuinely, I was an emotional man. Pardon?
Like tears of happiness?
Tears of happiness. Best day of my life.
That's
my inner fangirl
awesome.
Just, whew.
That's awesome, though. I wish I had stories as cool as that one, but I've been to 4 concerts.
Oh, I'm jealous.
I went to Chris Stapleton in, I want to say, what year is it? 2021. And the opener was El King, and it was pretty good. I am not a huge country person, but it was pretty good. Persian. Okay. And then I went to Jess Moskalouk. She actually came to my town. She's from Rokenville, and I'm from Mooseman. So we pretty close. I actually know her. And then we went to Nickelback last summer in Winnipeg. Best day of my life. And then we went to Jonas Brothers November of last year.
Forgot you went to that.
And I'm hoping Luke Bryan, but we'll see.
I love Luke Bryan.
He's playing in Winnipeg and Saskatoon in April. But Winnipeg's really expensive, so I might go to Saskatoon. We'll see. But yeah, my favorite was Nickelback. The Jonas Brothers was really good because we had really good seats. And they had 2 stages. So there was the main stage, and then they went to the far one. And I could throw a rock when they were at the second stage and hit them. Wow. It was really cool.
That's not very nice.
And may have fangirled.
Why would you do that?
Well, I'm just saying that's how close they were. But I fangirled a lot at that one because Camp Rock and all that stuff. And they actually played Camp Rock songs there. I might have videos, but they played 2 Camp Rock songs. And that was it. And then Nick Jonas started playing Jealous, and that was it. And I was dead in the seat. It was so good.
Melted,
literally.
I would be too.
Yeah.
That's funny. So there's a bit of an asterisk to my most recent concert. I'll explain, but I've been to 6 shows in total. So my first show I went to was in 2014. 2014, yeah. I was 10, almost 11. ZZ Top came to Brandon now, and they've been to Brandon a couple times, which is what I'm thankful when a band that big is able to come to smaller venues. Kiss was here, I think in 2011 or whatever. That was a big deal, Kiss. But yeah, saw ZZ Top in 2014. That was awesome. Big beards. They'll spin their guitars halfway through the song. Then in 2017, I saw Roger Waters. He's the bassist and vocalist from Pink Floyd. He basically, both him and David Gilmour would, take back and forth solo tours and calling themselves Pink Floyd pretty much. But I saw him. That one was probably my favorite in terms of the visuals, because if you're not familiar with some of the music, some of it's a little politically charged. And, you know, like there were times where, because one of their albums is called Animals, and it was based off of the book, like Animal Farm by George Orwell. And so during the tour for that album in the 70s and with this one, during the song Pigs, there would be a huge inflatable pig flying around the arena. So that was a fun touch. And then there was also like graphics of like politicians with like their face superimposed over a baby. You can kind of fill in the blank with that one, but that one was really cool. And then 2018, so just a year later, I saw Metallica for the first time in Winnipeg. Oh my God, that was great. But the one thing I will say, that is still the loudest concert I've ever been to, because by that point I was getting into rock and metal, but I wasn't truly into it yet. So my ears weren't that prime in condition for metal. So the moment Metallica came in, because we were in the nosebleed section, and how Canada Life Center is made, it's a big concrete like building, so the sound goes up like this and then just rebounds back at you, and we were up in like the kind of upper bowl section. It was so flip-flapping loud. I had earplugs in, and that still wouldn't do anything.
Really?
It was just so loud, but I had such a great time though, because like, you know, when they play songs like, you know, like Master of Puppets, Nothing Else Matters, Enter Sandman, you're singing along with all the lyrics, and like everyone else is doing it, and of course they have like flames and pyro and all that, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Then in 2022, I went and saw Slipknot. They came to Winnipeg, and at the time they were my favorite band at that point. So going to see them was awesome, and that show was still awesome, because I got pretty lucky, because that was the first show where I was down on the floor, like in the pit section, and I got there early enough where I was maybe about 50 feet away from like the front of the stage. So I was right in the mosh pit territory. So like while I'm standing there trying to watch, I'm like kind of half moshing, trying to watch the band as well. So you're watching the band, then someone like out of nowhere will just blindside you and run into you, not intentionally, but because there's a pit going on right next to you. There's a pit going on the other side of you and one way in front of you. So you have to kind of be aware of your surroundings, but that was lots of fun. And then last year, Metallica they went to Montreal, but they did something on this past tour where basically instead of, you know, playing like arena like all in 1 week, they basically did only stadium shows, like one stadium show a week. And when you buy the ticket, they basically play 2 shows at the same stadium, just 2 days apart. So you buy the ticket, you get in both shows, same seat. So basically I've like seen Metallica like technically twice, but at the same time 3 times, because I saw them on 2 separate days. So that's why I say 6 shows, could be 5, but I would say 6. And those 2 were pretty awesome. And if I had to pick a favorite out of all those, you know, I have to say the Slipknot show from 2022, I think actually was a lot of fun, just because I was so close to the stage. Like I could see all the band like so clearly, and they were all, it was pretty soft. Like, and they have one song where they basically make everyone on the floor like get down on their hands and knees, and then they just yell, "Jump the bleep up," and then everyone jumps up on the floor at the same time and just goes crazy.
Okay.
That's so
that sounds fun.
much fun. I'll have to show you a video later.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Before we wrap up the concert talk, oh my gosh. I am not Englishing well today. I was going to mention when I saw Nickelback, they obviously had fire and all the fun stuff. And I mean, for being as old as they are, they put on a damn good show.
Oh, yeah.
Like they had videos, and I saw Animals, actually. When you said Animals, that's what reminded me. Their song Animals, they had like cool visuals for it, and it's my absolute favorite song, and everybody was just screaming. The arena was so loud, and it was amazing. Like it was just like such a good experience.
Yeah, my best friend went to that show, and he said like it was just crazy. It was just awesome, because I think Nickelback is one of his favorites as well. So
one last thing about concerts. What's your ideal concert? Like as of now, if you could see any performer live, who would you see?
You know what? This one has a little bit of a backstory, because I have a bit of a vendetta against my sisters right now. Because when I was, I don't know how old I was. I can't do basic math. It was 2021. I started learning about this one K-pop band, 17, and they're obviously from Korea, and this was kind of during COVID, so they weren't on tour or anything like that. But I was the one that introduced all 3 of my older sisters to this band. And all of a sudden, now COVID's over and people are going on tour. Last summer, my 2 sisters went to Toronto. And the two of them went and saw them in concert without me.
Aww.
And you know what? I was fine about it. I was like, it was for my sister's birthday, and I didn't have enough money, and I didn't have, I don't know, I wasn't 18, so I didn't want to, you know, do anything too crazy, travel too far. And then it was fine until my oldest sister was going on a trip with her boyfriend, and they went to Vancouver. Which was the second Canadian stop on the 17 tour. So, of course, she went.
So she's seen them twice.
No, that was my other sister.
Oh, your other sister.
I have
Oh,
three
Jesus.
sisters. Two
Yeah.
of them went together. The other one went by herself because
Oh,
her
wow.
boyfriend didn't want to go. She went by herself in Vancouver, and the other two went
Wow.
to Toronto. And it was the band I got them into.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I want to see 17 in concert, especially since they're pretty... I don't know, I feel like they've been around for a long time, and I'm scared that they're going to stop going on world tours.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right.
next time they're in Canada, you best believe I'm saving up my money and I'm going.
That's awesome.
For me, it's a no-brainer. Chase Atlantic, but they don't come to Canada, and it really makes me sad. Like,
you're-
they're on tour right now, and they're not in Canada.
So you
And
gotta
then,
Book a
So, like,
flight.
so yeah, well, you got to hope that they go to like Minneapolis or
yeah,
Chicago,
I'm like
I guess.
praying. I would go over the border just to see them. And then The Weeknd. That one would be good. I've seen.
I'll go with you.
I've seen his like concerts, and they look so fun.
They do.
So maybe if he comes to Canada, we'll go together. Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a
all right.
good plan.
I've got two. AC/DC, they've come to Winnipeg several times, and you know, they are getting old. Like, they probably
Yeah.
maybe got 1-2 more tours out of them, because I mean, all of them are like in their 70s now. So they came to Winnipeg last in 2015, and they just had a huge like promotional rollout on their social media for a new tour, and I was like, North America, North America, North America. It was Europe only.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that doesn't say that, like, you know, they're not going to ever come to North America again, but if they do, I'm really, really going to try and like if they go to Winnipeg, I'm going. I'm going to find the time, even if the time's not there. I'm going to find the time.
That's how I am. If like Chase Atlanta comes,
Yeah.
I'm dropping everything
Yeah.
and running.
Oh yeah, sorry, work. I'm going to be sick next week. And,
Yeah.
That, or now the chances of this happening are slim to none, but I can still hope. So I've seen Roger Waters and how he did his kind of Pink Floyd experience. David Gilmour, he was the guitarist and the other singer. He's done his own version of that. And personally, if you ask me to prefer like who I would prefer David. I mean, obviously, like, both are good, but you know, with David, I would really like to see, because I always loved his voice, his guitar playing. He's one of the best guitar players of all time. And if he ever did his own kind of Pink Floyd tour and he came to Winnipeg, same thing with AC/DC. I'm dropping everything, going to. My mom would be the same thing. She loves Pink
Yeah.
Floyd more than I do. So
What genres do you dislike?
this is where the whole audience is either going to
Yeah,
agree with
this
us,
is
or
where-
they're going to turn off the channel saying, "Okay, that's it, we're done."
I personally, I'm not super picky. Maybe don't put classical music on, but like other than that,
I love classical music.
It depends.
Excuse you.
it depends for me. It depends on the song, if that makes sense. And I don't
Okay.
listen to it actively.
Give me an example of like classical that you like.
Oh gosh, you're making me think too hard. It's been a while since I've heard a
Come
classical
on,
song.
we gotta use the brain.
My point being, just like, I don't listen to it actively. So that's, if I had to
Oh,
say
so
I
that's your
dislike,
excuse.
I don't really listen to it.
That's your excuse.
I am a loser, and I do, in fact, listen to classical music.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I mean, people really bullied me in high school. No, not actually, but I was a band kid, so, and a piano
yeah.
kid,
Oh,
and
well,
just
yeah.
the, like, I don't know, listening to piano. My sister used to play it all the time growing up, so having her move out and not having the constant piano playing kind of inspired me to continue to listen to classical music, just so it's like I still have that little piece.
Do you have any genres like you absolutely dislike, you hate?
I don't know. I would say, I don't know. I like everything. There are certain songs and certain genres that I can't get behind, like certain styles and genres. You know how you can have a genre but a different style within a genre? I don't know how to
Right.
explain it, but I'm really not picky. I used to really hate country.
I know a lot of people who are like that. Actually.
Yeah, there are a
It's
lot.
like the biggest controversy in music, I swear.
I
Probably,
find that is causing
yeah.
a lot of problems lately. Like it's either you love country or you
Friendships.
hate country, and you're not allowed
Yeah,
to
there's
be
not
in
really
between.
many people who are fine with country. It's either you. Well, I think we should say modern country because I think like kind of
Yes.
older country, like kind of pre 2000s, compared to the country since like the 2000s to now, it's two very different things, and I
Yeah.
think it's kind of centered around.
Yeah,
modern
that's
country.
why I'm like the styles within the genre.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like old school country, I love that. Like like I have a ton of like like Johnny Cash, for example,
Yeah.
Willie Nelson, all that. But personally, I'm one of those people that modern country, it's just not for me. Like I wouldn't say I don't hate any genres. I just have stuff that I'll listen to, and I'm like, this just doesn't do anything for me.
Well, and that's exactly it. I think a lot on social media right now, people are just like bashing things, and it's like it doesn't matter that much. Like I
No.
may not like certain songs in the genre, but that doesn't mean I hate it.
Yeah, like one genre that I'm not too big a fan is rap, just
Yeah.
because well, and that's such a like broad
It
Oh,
is.
yeah.
genre.
Yeah.
Because you think of early 2000s rap, I get down with that. I
100%.
love
Like Eminem and
Oh,
stuff like
yeah.
that. Like
No, I
Eminem,
love
50
it.
Cent.
Yes,
all that fun
all
stuff.
of it. No, I love them, but I don't know. And Ali Chapa, I like his music, and that's more recent. But there's a lot that I can't get behind. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm hearing it, and
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't vibe with it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Well, then on that topic, what's one song that you absolutely hate that if it comes on, you will shut off? If it comes on the radio, you will shut
no.
off. I have one. I'll start with this one. You know that the one that's like the remix, somebody remade the song Blue. Please tell me that you know, like the I'm Blue Dub.
Oh, yeah.
that one.
Oh,
that one?
Somebody remade it.
Oh dear.
But like remixed it and
remade
it's
that?
terrible.
well, I think trying to remake that song is like
It's not even like remade. It's like
a remix.
it's yeah. And I want
Why?
to say
That song was
I-
perfect as it was.
I don't remember who did it, but every time it comes on the radio, I will like shut it off. I think that's not the only one either. Like there's like some songs that people are trying to remix and make now, like "What Is Love," if you've ever heard that song, or I'm trying to think of the other one. There's a couple of them, but people are making remixes of old songs, and that's really annoying to
Yeah,
me.
I
If
agree.
you
I don't vibe with a lot of covers.
if you can't come up with your own original stuff, please
Yeah,
stop
exactly.
trying
if you
to
can't
remake
come up with
things.
the original stuff, don't mooch off people.
Do
I mean,
not.
in the 2000s and like the late 90s and the 2000s, there were a lot of rock bands that their most popular song was a cover song. Like, if you
Yeah.
ever remember, I don't know if you remember it, but there was this one band called Alien Ant Farm, and they did their own cover of "Smooth Criminal" by Michael Jackson. If I were to play it, you'd probably
yeah.
recognize it, but that was their only song.
Well,
That's it. They were a one-hit wonder.
I'll just listen
because
to
of
the
a
original.
cover, not original material because of a cover, and I just think that's a little lazy.
say I just prefer the original.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, exactly.
I almost always prefer the original.
Yep.
There are the odd exceptions.
Yeah.
I'm not even
Sure,
gonna lie. But at the same time, I don't say don't do covers, but I just think
Gotta do it right.
yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
if you're gonna do it, at least make it your own.
Yeah, try
And
it. Yeah.
Well, also
And-
kind of like giving justice to the song. Like, don't ruin the song.
don't please,
And don't
please
try and just make a
ruin it.
carbon copy of the song. Like try and add your own twist
Flair.
into it. Sure, it sometimes
Coming-
doesn't work, but
Coming
Flair.
from music experts here.
Oh, yeah.
Could
Yeah.
definitely do that. No,
own 3 record
but
labels.
I'm thinking of like I have 2 favorite covers of from 5 Seconds of Summer. They did a cover of What I Like About You and also Killer Queen.
Okay, those
And
those could be okay.
two, you know what? I like them so much. I listen to them more than the originals, but that's also because I'm biased towards the band. But
that's fair. Yeah.
at
Do
the
you
same
have a
time-
song that you like hate? Like,
I don't know. I don't. Okay, there's one Taylor Swift song, "Cool Summer," and it's just so played over and over and over and over and over again on the radio. And also I play volleyball, and there's always warm-up songs being played
Oh, yeah.
before games. And this past season, the opposing team had this one playlist, and it was just. I swear they had "Cool Summer" on there 4 or 5 times because in one 10-minute warm-up, it would play twice That is
Yeah.
not a good ratio. I'd be rallying and I could just hear cool summer, and it just got really repetitive.
Well, on the bright side, you could you could use that to kind of like fire up and give you some emotion to beat the other team. Just
How
to rub
dare
it in
you
your
play
face.
this song over and over and over again?
There's always a silver lining to it. You know, I don't know if like a lot of songs for me, like I don't like hate them because I hate the song itself. I just find it annoying and repetitive. There are several songs like that, but there's one song that I've never ever liked. There was an old song from the late 90s. Do you remember that one song like that Bop song by Hanson? Like that,
Oh yeah.
Bop, bop, da, do. That one I cannot. Hurts my ears.
Oh really?
Just never.
Okay, and last for like the dislikes, so we can get back onto a positive
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Yeah.
Who's your least favorite artist?
Oh God. Jeez. Least favorite artist. See, now that's tough because I'm not much of a hate person. Like, hate's a strong
Yeah.
word, but you know, it's a bit of a lazy answer because one of the things that I like if we were talking about kind of like genres and things that I don't like, I'm not a big fan of a lot of modern music in general. Like, I like a lot of genres, but kind of 2000s and before. But there's a lot of modern rappers that I listen to, and I'm
Yeah.
like, ugh. Like, it's just some names like there's some guys like, again, it's a lot of the people whose name starts with Lil, like
Yeah,
Lil Xan,
yeah.
Lil
Totally
Peep,
agree.
Lil Yachty. If you like the music, I don't care. Cool, more
But-
power to you. But for me, I just listen to some of the stuff and I'm like there's some modern rap I like, but unfortunately it's very few and far between, kind of cherry picked stuff. So
I think for me, I'm not super picky. I will give an artist a chance.
sure, yeah.
Like if I really, really like hate the music they make and I don't like a single song from them, then that's different. But I don't currently have an artist that I don't like.
Right.
But then again, my playlist is made up of only things I do like, so.
Fair.
But if I don't like any of the music they make, then they don't make the list type of thing, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, for me, I'm sure there's a band out there somewhere that I just absolutely hate, but I haven't heard yet. Right now, I haven't really found, I don't know, an artist that I've been like, oh, really? But I agree with what Colin said about the Littles.
Oh, the Lils.
I think that was really
It's-
well put.
It's
That
just,
was
it's too
great.
overdone, like in a way, like it almost just seems like a parody.
I agree. Maybe it's a joke.
How many Lil combinations? Like, for example, on the back of our microphones it says Pod Mic, like Lil Pod Mic. Like,
Is that
like,
your
like-
rapper name?
Yeah, well, someone would do that, or like
Yeah.
Road here, like Lil Road.
Yeah.
Lil
Lil
Head
Cullen.
Amp.
You're Lil Cullen.
Yeah.
Lil Colin.
Lil Kenzie. Lil Ryan.
We should start a rap group.
Yeah. I think everybody would love to hear that.
I think they would.
Everyone would
Why
be
don't you give us
jumping
our-
for joy.
Why don't you give
Yeah.
us your best freestyle? No, I'm kidding. I don't want to hear that.
Our debut album would be called Blue and Red.
True.
Why
but-
not red first? Red and blue.
Red and blue.
Yeah, because I'm bitter.
Ooh.
I
Or
told
because
you,
there's-
she bullies me a lot off camera.
It's not true.
There's
He's lying.
there's not much I
Ooh,
can.
I
do
don't-
about
I
it.
We're
don't-
best friends.
I
What are
don't
you
think
talking
Colin
about?
is lying. I think Kenzie does probably bully him up. It's actually from what I've
Crickets,
observed today.
crickets.
I've been hanging out with them for today. I've done a couple videos with them, and they mutually bully each other.
Exactly. Thank you. It's not just me.
That doesn't
Okay.
help my case.
Okay.
Okay, children. Yes,
Shush.
yes.
Let's use our inside voices.
Sorry.
Sorry.
What artist would you meet if you could? Like anybody you could meet, dead or alive, who would you meet?
Oh, that is a really tough question. I feel like Colin has an answer.
Colin, do you have an answer?
More than a couple.
Oh.
There are so many artists from my favorite bands that I wish I could just go out and have a drink with, or just go out and have
yeah.
a bite with. I'll just spitball a couple of them. James Hetfield, lead singer of.
Metallica?
Oh,
ding, ding,
good
ding.
guess.
I mean,
well, it's pretty easy.
Pretty
Way to
obvious.
connect those
It's pretty
dots.
obvious, yeah. Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. I would love. Again, I would really want to have a conversation with a lot of really good like musical minds. Like people,
Oh, yeah.
for example, like Trent Reznor for a long time, Nine Inch Nails was just him. He made the beats, the
Interesting.
singing, the album, everything was him. So those type of very creative minds, I would really love to have a conversation with, like just to see what goes on in the noggin. But yeah, Trent and James, David Gilmour, I already mentioned his name before. I'd love to have a conversation with him. There's more, but I'll keep it to those three. I think like any of those three, I would die happy if I could just have a pint with them.
Yeah. For me, it's not necessarily specific people, but
Is it from Chase Atlantic?
yeah. No,
Good.
all of Chase Atlantic all the time.
I
Chase Atlantic, The Weeknd. If I got to meet Nickelback, that would be crazy because like childhood memories like fulfilled forever.
would you want to meet like Chad Kruger or the whole band or?
I mean the whole band, but like Chad before anything else, probably.
Well, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Chad Kruger married to Avril Lavigne?
He was.
Oh, he was.
It definitely. I don't.
Say,
They're not.
It could have been a free
married.
opportunity to meet Avril Lavigne, but
It
not
was like
anymore. Oh no.
it was a big thing a while ago.
It was a
but
big thing. Well,
I'm pretty sure they were married.
I don't keep up to date. In that
I'm trying to think of anybody else. Morgan Wallen is my go-to country.
Every person I know had
okay.
Morgan Wallen in their most played artists last year.
He was not in my most played.
Okay.
Okay.
But
She's defending
okay, if
herself
you like
now.
Morgan
I'd
Wallen,
love to meet him,
that
but he
doesn't-
wasn't in
that's
my-
fine.
he wasn't in
But
Wasn't.
where
but-
did he come from?
Actually, he was on The Voice. That's where he started. He was on The Voice.
I never
love
heard
that
Morgan
show.
Wallen's name once before 2023. And then when 2023 happened, it was like the Morgan Wallen fan club in
She's got-
Canada.
Okay,
Got
my
something to
mom
say.
is a
I'm
huge
not
Morgan
hating, it's
Wallen
just what I saw.
fan. So that's one reason it's like a bonding thing for me and my mom. And two, he was on The Voice. Like he
Well, I don't
hasn't
watch
changed
The
his
Voice.
name or anything. It was Morgan Wallen on The Voice, but it was like quite a while ago.
Well, I don't watch The Voice. That's probably why.
But like that's where he got his start. And then he
Was
just
there
kind of
like he had like that one song where like the only line I can remember is the girls drink Bacardi. Was that him? Like
I don't
the
know.
girls drink
No
Bacardi.
clue.
I don't know.
That might. I have
think
no
that was
idea
him.
what you're
I
thinking
think that
of.
was him. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was him because I watch a lot of YouTube, and when I would get ads for like Morgan Wallen's new tour or new album, I saw that so many times. I'm like,
But like
Hey,
I don't know. Meeting
get
him
it.
would be cool. Is my point. Anyway.
For me, I've got two. One is more. I don't want to just meet him. I want to hang out with him. You know,
Okay.
it's like if we're gonna meet, we're gonna do a lot of fun things. And we're gonna have
you're gonna
fun.
go to like a water park.
Yeah. We're gonna go for drinks. We're gonna hang out and meet. I'm gonna meet his family. You know, it's gonna be awesome. This is my like.
You've built
ideal-
this up, so who is
yeah,
it?
and it's Michael Clifford from from 5
okay.
Seconds of Summer. He's
Okay.
Okay.
I just think he's so funny, and I think meeting somebody isn't enough. Like if I want to really see their full personality, it's like I really gotta hang out with them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was being a little delusional. I was just joking, but no. And then if I actually just wanted to meet somebody, like dead or alive, Michael Jackson.
I
I just think that he has left such an imprint on the world.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just want to meet him. Like, have a real good, in deep conversation.
see
with
what
him.
he was like.
Yeah.
You know.
Actually, I don't know if you saw this. I saw this on social media a few days ago. This was quite funny. Like, if you want to just know how popular he was, there was an interview. Well, it wasn't like an interview. It was more like a press conference he did in the late '90s in Japan, I think it was. And Michael found this out straight away, so he started kind of playing around with the audience. But whenever he would move, you could hear the camera shutters from the entire paparazzi and audience.
yeah.
Like whenever he would move, so he'd be there talking, and then all of a sudden. And so, like anytime he would move, you could just hear rapid camera shutters and flashes every time he would move a muscle. I just found that so funny.
That's awesome.
And then so he stopped talking, and then he went. And he was just playing around there. It
That
was
is
so
really
funny.
funny.
That was great.
No, yeah, I definitely would love to talk
Yeah.
to that.
Well, actually, I was gonna ask that if you can meet an artist that has passed on, specifically passed on, who would you?
Freddie Mercury.
Oh,
I was
that's
gonna say the same thing. You read my mind.
I watched
Freddie
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mercury.
Absolutely love the
Yeah.
movie. I think
He would be a fun person to go out to the clubs with.
Yeah, I think his life
Probably.
story is very,
You gotta hang out
very
with him.
interesting.
Yeah.
But I definitely think if I could meet Freddie Mercury, that would be absolutely amazing.
He smuggled Princess Diana out of like the royal palace, dressed her up in a wig and glasses, and they went clubbing together.
That's awesome.
Basically, when like the royalty couldn't go anywhere without multiple levels of security,
Yeah.
Princess Diana wore a disguise and they just went out to the clubs.
That is awesome.
That's crazy.
I absolutely
He
love
has the
that.
power to do that.
Yeah. Is there anyone else you're thinking of? Like,
You know, during Lincoln Park,
yeah, I do.
Chester Bennington. It's sad what happened to him,
It is
but
sad, but
he would be a guy
That
because
would
he
be-
always seemed like a pretty like genuine guy, and he always had a pretty powerful scream as well. So I think I would like to have met Chester.
Yeah.
That's a good question because there are a lot.
There's a lot.
One group I think I'd like to hang out with just because I think it'd be pretty interesting. That one band, Leonard Skinnerd.
Oh, yeah.
Freebird, if in case you don't recognize
Yeah.
them, like Freebird or Sweet Home Alabama. A good chunk of the band unfortunately died in a plane crash in the late 70s. So some of the main members of the band are gone. I would have liked to hang out with the band because
Yeah.
they're Southern country boys, you know.
Southern.
It'd be fun. Just
be
to
fun,
hang out
yeah.
with them, hang out with them on the ranch.
Okay. I think we might have time for one more really good question. So you guys
Okay.
ready for a big one?
Let's
I'm ready.
do it.
What song or album speaks to you and why? Resonates with you? What, like it, deep down, you think it like is about you? Almost.
That is a crazy question.
See, I had several albums that spoke to me at different stages of my life, like from
Yeah.
like my teenage years to now.
Okay, so then now, I would say.
Okay, well,
Oh, I gotta look at this one.
yeah, I was say, do
I
you
gotta
have
pull
one?
this up
Because
on my
you
phone
got to come
'cause I
back to me,
can't
man.
remember.
First of all, I'll pull out our phones and be
right.
like, yeah, mute.
I'm going to my
I gotta
See
think
if I
of
can
something.
find it. It might be on my Spotify. Wow, we all got real awkward after that.
Oh, it was a really hard question.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
trying.
I have one that I can think about at the top of my head. So
Okay.
since my time in college, again, this is gonna be a callback to another band. Do
yeah.
you know what the band is?
Metallica.
No,
Pink
actually,
Floyd?
no, no, it was Metallica.
Okay, well, I'm just guessing.
In the mid late '90s, they came out with they're meant to be a double album, but they came out a year apart. Load and Reload. There's a lot of there are a lot of songs from those two albums that I think kind of. There were a lot of songs and like just topics that I could relate to a lot. Like there were some songs that were about like kind of mental health and inner struggle. But then there were also some kind of fun, fast, like groovy songs that kind of I felt epitomized how a college student would be, like someone in
Yeah.
their early 20s, you know, like songs about, you know, driving fast and just going out and having fun and being just young and dumb or whatever. There were a lot of those songs mixed with some kind of more personal stuff. So I think that kind of stuff, like that stuff, I could find like a lot of bits of relatability in there.
Okay, well, I'm gonna geek out right now.
Oh, here we go. Chase Atlantic.
No,
What?
it is
Get
not.
out.
I'm gonna totally
This is
geek
the-
out
this
right
is a
now. Okay,
revelation.
I'm totally gonna geek out. Okay, so if you've ever watched Heathers the musical,
Watched it.
have you watched?
Yes.
Oh my god, I love you.
Musical theater.
Heathers the musical. It's about like a lot of teen stress and the overwhelming fear of like growing up.
3-4 Heathers. How many Heathers were there?
Well, there's originally 3, and then Veronica joins in, and then there's
Oh right,
4.
yeah, yeah, because it was 3 Heathers, but also it was
Yeah.
also a clique called the Heathers, right?
Yeah. Well, there's technically, okay, I'm just going to geek out real quick. There's 3 people named Heather. And like the clique is also named Heathers, and Veronica joins said clique, but she stays as Veronica. Anyway,
She hasn't renamed herself to Heather. To be with us, you
it-
have to be called Heather.
deals with a lot of heavy topics, and I feel like it relates to like the pressure of trying to fit in and be somebody and not just be a fly on the wall. And the song Lifeboat, that is sung by Heather McNamara, when she loses her best friend and she loses the guy she used to date and she's got nobody else really around her. She feels suffocated by what she's going through, and she kind of thinks like she doesn't want to be around anymore. And the song deals with her anxiety over being alone and not fitting in. And I think that one really sticks with me every time I hear it. I'm just like, yeah, I can relate, because when I feel overwhelmed, I'm just like, this is it. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck.
That movie was also really violent, especially at the end.
Okay, the movie. Okay, the whole thing is very violent.
there we go.
It is. It definitely don't watch it if you're under like 16.
Don't watch it until you're like 30.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
Well, whatever. But the movie.
A lot of 18 plus type topics.
The movie was pretty good. Like, it's an 80s movie, an original 80s movie.
It is the most 80s movie you can think of.
But the actual musical, it's like been updated recently too, so it's like a little more modern.
Don't tell me it goes from like being ostracized by your friends to being ostracized on TikTok.
No, I'm just it's become a bit more modern in the sense because they've had to like modify it a bit, but it still has the same sticking points, the same main. Like, this is what happens.
Same,
this
like,
is how she deals with it.
yeah.
And I think it definitely is a good thing to watch when you're dealing with heavy topics. I think it resonates with everybody.
Well, for me, I'm sure I could have come up with a better answer than this one. It's one of those ones that I'd have to think on for probably a couple days to actually have the best answer.
Yeah.
But something that immediately came to my mind was when Colin was saying he had like albums and songs throughout his life that have like spoke to him. The only one that I can really think of is Adele 21. Because when I was in high school, I mean, it had come out way before I
That
was
album
in high
was
school.
huge.
That was
it
a big album.
But so when it was huge, I was really young and I didn't
we were all
really
kids back then.
I didn't listen to
Yeah.
it at all. But then I don't know, like grade 11, I think I went through, or maybe grade 10. Anyways, I went through just a Adele phase. She resurfaced a bit in my mind, and I started listening to that album, and I get it. I get it now.
And you were rolling in the deep now?
Yeah. But no, maybe not all of the songs on the album, but definitely a few. I don't know. It's a bit childish because in my mind to like think like, oh, it's like I totally relate because I didn't. But in my mind, I just felt like it was something that I could really.
You understand it a lot more as you
I don't know. It just resonated with me when I was younger, and to this day, you'll still catch me on an emotional day, just
listening to it.
Just
full
dialing
blast
it
in
up.
the car, just screaming.
I have one more answer to that, actually.
yeah, go for
It's gonna be sad, but I'm gonna try not to make it so sad, okay?
Are we crying?
This is where we all start crying.
I don't know who the artist is. It's just like a TikTok artist, but it's a song called "In the Stars." And I hope somebody knows who I'm talking about. I'd have to play
I'm
it for
not
you,
on
and you'd
TikTok,
probably know it. But it resonates with me because I lost my best friend a couple years ago to a car accident. And so I definitely, after she passed away, I listened to that a lot. And I still miss her. It's been 3 years almost, but it really resonates with me because she's actually gone.
Yeah.
Not to make it sad or anything, but she's actually gone, and it still sucks. It sucks how easy a life can be taken away.
Yeah, there's no, I shouldn't go into this. It's too sad. But there's a song I can't even. It's just a song that my uncle passed away, and it was played at his funeral, and it's just every time I listen to it now, it reminds me of him, and it really is like.
Yeah, that feeling definitely sucks, I would say. Like, when you hear it at the funeral, and then if you ever hear it again, you're automatically going to think about that.
Yeah, you're automatically reminded of it.
I think the song was too hard to say goodbye, or I don't know, it's an older song, but yeah. Anyways.
Well, I'd say, kind of in conclusion, let's say, what has music done for you, like in a positive sense? Like, how does music help you? Like, what does it do for you?
For me, music helps me focus a lot. So, like, reading, if I'm doing work, I always have my headphones on. It just it makes me happy to listen to it, especially my favorite songs. I know the words, I can scream the words, and just have a good time. I think it just makes me smile.
For me, it's a bit different because I always look at music from the standpoint of I've played from when I was younger. I've played piano since I was 5. And I was in band, so I played the trombone, and I just feel like all that kind of music and singing, I was in choirs, I felt like it brought me towards people that I care about. So it's, I don't know, it resonates, I don't know, like a lot of positive emotions, memories. I hold a lot of songs that I listen to have memories behind them. And so it's almost like a journal for me. a journal of memories, and I am always looking forward to listening to new songs to create new memories. And that's kind of how it is for me.
It's very like deep-minded of you.
Yeah, well, music is one of my like parts of my life, so like it serves a purpose for me in like more ways than one. It helps me focus when I'm working. You know, when I'm driving, always have to be listening to some music or whatever. But I think music really does help you when you're down in the dumps. Like, cause for example, like one artist I remember in an interview, Marilyn Manson, he once said that, you know, you put on a record and it's not going to yell at you for the way that you dress or how you act or how you are as a person. And I kind of agree with that, just because music, it's very free from judgment, from a lot of the judgment in the world. And there's music that's tailored to whatever emotion you're feeling. Really, like, you know, if you're having a good time, you can play party music. If you're down in the dumps and you want to play some, you know, cathartic music, there's stuff for that too, and all the things in between. So
yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think there's music for everybody, and I think that no matter what, there's always something out there for you.
Absolutely.
And I guess that wraps up episode 2 of the KC Chronicles. Thank you to Ryan for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So much for having me.
We loved having you.
I had a blast.
We'll be sure to have you on for future episodes.
Oh, definitely. We love having you here, and it's very nice to get the third opinion.
Absolutely.
I think it was nice to have a conversation, I guess.
Absolutely.
If you liked the episode or you have any opinions about music or any ideas, the email is on the screen now, but I will also say it for you. It is wcgtv@westmancom.com. Feel free to email us, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. And we do have the studio space if you feel like using it, and you can talk to that email as well. Other than that, I think that's all we have to wrap up the show. So thank you for watching. Thank you guys for being here. We had fun.
Absolutely.
And
I
I
had
think
so
we
much
talked a lot today. So
We did.
yeah. So then I guess bye for now.